Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to yet another very special video. And as Bristol City look to continue this playoff charge we're on, we are joined by Dana Malt, who from the Boro Breakdown podcast to preview Bristol City's home game at Ashton Gate on Friday night against Middlesbrough. Dana, how are you first of all, and how much are you not looking forward to this game?
Yeah, I'm absolutely brilliant. Football aside, yeah, this game is a really tough one because pressure's obviously mounted on Michael Carrick, and it feels like a big game. You guys are a bit of a bogey team for us. I was looking through the head-to-head, and the last time that we beat you guys was 2021. I think there's been 8 meetings since then. So, yeah, whenever we play you guys, it feels like whenever we play and need a result, we don't get one against Bristol City. So yeah, I think there's a bit of nervousness and anxiety around around this fixture.
Well, I'd say there's a lot of anxiety around City at the moment because, well, the door is wide open when we're both in this kind of playoff race. I do
Yeah.
the speech marks again. The door is wide open, but a lot of these teams kind of seem to be stumbling, not tripping on their own feet. So,
Mm.
yeah, just a bizarre time to support both of our clubs, I suppose.
Yeah, it
Um,
is. Yeah.
yeah. Well, you mentioned Michael Carrick. It's four losses in a row. It's five losses in six, I think, and that one win was a good win against West Brom. What's gone wrong? Because I remember Michael Carrick as this new manager coming into the championship with Middlesbrough and kind of taking them from here to into the playoffs and losing out in the playoffs. And it's just there's been always kind of excitement with Carrick, and now it's just
Mm.
seemingly he's lost a lot of the fan base.
Yeah, you know what he has, and it's quite sad because, as you mentioned there, the ascent that he took us on in 2022-23 was unprecedented, really. I remember when Michael Carrick joined Boro, I kind of shrugged my shoulders because I didn't know much about him, and I kind of just maybe I lumped him into that category of big name former professional coming into management and won't quite deliver. I think with Michael Carrick's Middlesbrough and his tenure so far, it's basically been underperformance, I would say. Hope and maybe well, quite a bit of expectation, I guess, set from that 2022-23 season. And ultimately, right now, anyway, underperformance within that. And it's been incredibly frustrating this season. Last season was frustrating as well, but he got a lot of credit in the bank still because we had a complete mountain of unavailability, injuries, AFCON, red cards, everything. There was only two players actually from the whole Borough squad that were available throughout the entirety of the season, Alex Gilbert and Dan Barlaser. So it was a very, very difficult one for Carrick to negotiate through last season. So he got a lot of leeway, I'd say. This season, still had injuries, but nowhere near on the same scale, and we've held ourselves back. I mean, the reverse fixture at the Riverside against Bristol City, the mistakes that we were making from playing out from the back were ridiculous, and that we've had a whole catalogue of them this season, and it's Comedy Channel at the back, and absolutely no Borough fan is laughing about it. So. Yeah, we've held ourselves back. We've had good performances, a series of 3 games in November where we scored 4, 5, and 6 against QPR, Luton, and Oxford. And you're thinking, right, we've clicked. We're cooking on gas now. And every season we seem to have this upturn in form after a slow start, and then it tails off again. Funnily enough, around the period of the early bird season ticket renewals, which is very classic Borough, a fantastic way of kind of pushing that. So yeah, it's frustrating, and Carrick is definitely under pressure still. I know he's got a vote of confidence from Steve Gibson, but the next 3 games, Bristol City, Stoke, and Derby, are very, very, very important. And I'm not actually sure that Carrick will deliver the points that he needs to alleviate that pressure, because ultimately we're not seeing a lot of answers to the problems that we have seen too many times this season.
Prior to these last six games, Middlesbrough were actually in a pretty decent position. I think you're in the top six, either very close to. Um,
Mm.
what's switched in those last six games? Is it an injury to a key player? Is it tactically? What's gone wrong with these last six games that's led to five defeats?
Yeah, you know what? I would say starting 2025, it's not been great for Borough, generally speaking, like performance wise. I can only really say that we've played well in one game, and that was the victory that you mentioned earlier, the one against West Brom. I think losing Lath was huge in January, but in fairness, we had problems whilst he was still here. I don't really know what it is. It's been an ongoing problem, and now I feel like in previous games maybe we have managed to get through it. We've managed to work our way through these bad spells within games, but right now we keep finding a way to lose and come off the wrong side of a fine margin game. Yeah, I don't know what it is specifically. Maybe this was always meant to happen because we had that, I guess, teasing of a good run, and we had that good run in November, as I mentioned, and maybe this is kind of just reverting to the mean kind of thing. So yeah, it's a tricky one. It's a puzzling one. I think a lot of Borough fans have tried to find the answer of what's gone wrong, and I think there's been a complete cluster, a conveyor belt, if you will, of things that have gone wrong, and individual errors ultimately. And I guess you can maybe say that it stems from Michael Carrick's philosophy of playing out from the back, and we've been poor in possession, really poor in moments. As I said, some comedy defending at the back in which there's no player that's really taking control of the situation, which leads to another potential problem. Do Borough lack leadership? I'm sick to my back teeth of hearing the word leadership, but to be fair, maybe it's something that Borough need in the team, because I feel like when we go a goal down, our heads drop completely, and we don't really pick it back up. So we are a very weak and vulnerable side, I would say. When we're good, we're very good, but our flaw shows our vulnerability, because when we are not good, we are easy to target. And I'm sure Bristol City will probably target us on Friday.
I watched that Sunderland game where you lost 3-2 late on, and it just had a sorry to remind you that it had a
It's fine.
had a feeling of how flaky our Borough, because like you do really well to get ahead, and you'd actually should have been ahead before you actually went ahead.
Yeah.
And you go 2-1. I think you go 2-1 down. You go bring it back to 2-2. And you're going, okay, now, okay, you've got attacking
Mm.
players on the pitch, Sunderland on the ropes, go and push, and then concede a really bizarre goal. Um, is how am I being too harsh because you've gone on this losing run, or is it just that general flakiness? Is it down to lack of leadership you mentioned? Because even with that, by the way, you've still got some experienced players kind of littered throughout the
Yeah, we
squad.
do.
Johnny Howson, Luke Ayling, George Edmondson's relatively
Mm.
experienced at this level. Ian Acho's come in; he's quite experienced.
Mm.
What's going on?
I know we are such an identity crisis of a team, aren't we? Yeah, we are flaky. I think that's a very fair way of describing Borough. Just very unreliable. When the going gets tough, I don't trust this team. I remember mentioning on a podcast like months ago, I don't trust this Middlesbrough team. And reflecting on that, that hasn't changed. I still don't trust them because, yeah, as I said, when the chips are down, when we take a setback, I don't feel like we can overcome it. And that's actually interesting because even last season, I think, or definitely in 2022-23, whenever we took that setback, we would come out on top. Usually in the second half, if we were losing at half time, we'd come out in the second half and we'd pull it back and we win. We were very good in the second half under Michael Carrick. That game against Sunderland, we were good for about 20 minutes in that game, and we took our chance. But then Force had a chance where he really should have made it 2-0 and he didn't. And it's things like that as well, not killing the game off when we could do. We put ourselves in vulnerable situations because we leave the door open for teams. We are a little bit wasteful in front of goal, and that means that we're susceptible to losing the lead because we're so leaky at the back. It's an absolute mystery with Middlesbrough, and flaky is absolutely the word, I would say. Flaky, unreliable. I would say inconsistent, but we've gained a bit of consistency recently, just in the worst way, in losing games. So, yeah, it just adds to the frustration that has been Middlesbrough Football Club this season.
I look at Middlesbrough squad, especially that front line. I know it's been added to in January with Morgan Whittaker, Ian Acho, Iling Jr. and the likes. But I'm looking at that front line. I'm going, that should be able to blow any team out the water. That should be able to compete with the parachute teams, and that's a very like that's a outside of the parachute teams, Leeds, kind of Sheffield United, Burnley, etc., etc. I'm looking at
Mm.
Middlesbrough squad, and I'm looking at maybe Norwich or kind of West Brom, and I'm going right. They're the teams that should be able to compete with the parachute teams and be up there. And I know a lot of people had Middlesbrough. I think I had Middlesbrough in the top six, and think a large
Yeah.
proportion actually had them kind of fighting for the top two. How well, why are these? Why are you so bad defensively? Is it that? Is it the style of play? Is it the do you not have the adequate quality at centre back or in the back line to kind of um carry out this style of play? Why? Why is it so bad?
Yeah, you know what? It's risk versus reward, Michael Carrick's system, because it's a high line. It's committing a lot of players forward. Possession dominance is essentially what he's trying to go for. And one thing that I remember him saying post match is, I think it was a question around having like taking shots from outside the box. He says, don't make poor decisions or rash decisions, he was calling them. So I suppose it's just maybe trying not to create a perfect goal, but trying to maximize the high quality chances, right? Try to get the high quality chances rather than putting away the low quality chances. So I think it's his philosophy to push those players forward, but I think we're very disjointed. I think the way that we've recruited, especially in January, is just I don't really think it's joined up thinking, I would say, because you've got Illing Jr., who's a winger that likes to hug the touchline, chalk on his boots, old school winger, will take it around the outside. But then you've got Ryan Giles behind, who's very similar an operator in that he will venture into those same positions. We haven't actually seen Illing Jr. on the left bar a period in the last game where he played left wing back. He's mostly been played on the right. So it's square pegs and round holes going forward, which means that I think there's just a disconnection when we're in possession. And a lot of our goals that we've conceded, yeah, you can say they're comical and kamikaze and whatnot, and they are, but they come from us being poor in possession and not being effective enough. Like Whitaker on the right hand side would be so much better if you had an overlapping fullback that can give him that room and take that fullback out of position so he can do his thing and get those shots off with his left foot. Luke Ayling's not going to do that. We haven't recruited well enough in defence, I think. Right back needed addressing in the summer, and technically it was because we did sign Luke Ayling on a permanent deal, but we needed more than that. We needed a mid to long term thought with right back, and we just didn't get it. And then with our defence, Rav Vandenberg's a very good defender, and I don't subscribe to the belief from Boro fans this season that he's overrated. I just think unfortunately he's been slung down to the depths of the quality that he's seen around him. He's a really good defender. He got all of the awards last season in terms of player of the season, young player of the season. It was a low bar, to be fair. We had barely anyone available, but he's a good defender. I think Del Fry's a good defender. Edmondson started well and then just tailed off. I think it's a player profile thing. I really do. We let Matt Clark go in January because he wasn't getting game time and he wanted to leave. For me, he should have been starting over George Edmondson. Left back, we've honestly had so many. We've had since Giles left. We had Hayden Coulson for a period. We had Luke Thomas. We had Alex Bangura. We've had Lucas Engel. We've had Neto Borges. I might even be missing one. We've had so many. We've tried so hard to replace Giles, and we're back where we started with Giles. And the thing with Giles, he's not the best defensively, is he? His better attributes are going forward. So you're sacrificing that defensive discipline there. But that's fine. You have a player like that, but you need to be tighter, I think. Commit too many players forward, loose in possession, and we're very, very open. Personally, for me, I'd love Boro to adopt a system in which, in possession at least, it's a back three, and we saw this in Michael Carrick's first season, where we had a back three. We'd let Giles be the outlet on the left hand side. On left wing, we've got a player that comes in central, so he's not a left winger. He's almost like a number 10. That was Riley McGree. Now it's Delano Bergzorg. Then you have like a 3-2-5 situation going on, so there's still balance there. Right now, I see Boro committing their fullbacks too far at the pitch. Luke Ayling should not be going past the halfway line. We're very, very susceptible on that right side, so I wouldn't be surprised if you guys with Anis Mehmeti target us on that side. It's very difficult for Boro to deal with that turnover of possession. Because of that, we don't have the right pace. I don't think we have the right quality in defence. And whoever we play in goal just seems to lose their ability to, save shots. Like Travers is even making mistakes now, and he's a good goalkeeper. And one mark that I've seen from Edmondson, that boy must want to play goalkeeper because he does not trust who's behind him. He's like the goal against Sunderland. Just leave it. Like, just leave it. Everyone's like, oh, it's unfortunate, it's deflected. He literally leans right into the ball. He's trying to save that shot himself. Like, fair enough, he's a defender, he's wanting to block it, but just trust your goalkeeper. This defense does not do that. And yeah, there's a whole host of reasons as to why we're awful at the back. It's bad in moments, but also just the general makeup of the team for me is disjointed and needs urgent like attention.
Do you think losing Ben Doak and Riley McGree as well has kind of added to that?
Yeah, you know what? We became quite over reliant on Dork, I'd say. But he's a different player to what we see with Whitaker now. Whitaker's obviously cut inside. Dork's trying to take it around the outside and be a bit more direct, although he can move inside as well. McGree's not had a great season. His availability is it's become a little bit of a meme, I'd say. People are expecting him to be back for the international window because he apparently miraculously repairs his whole body for international duty with Australia. I think his body's just letting him down with all of the football and traveling, and I think he went to the World Cup as well, the Asian Cup. It's been difficult for him. Um, we're missing those players because they give us quality. I think I have long thought that Riley McGree is the best player at the club. Probably changed now, in all honesty. His stock's fallen and his quality's fallen as well, given his availability. Doesn't help that we don't have those players because Ben Doak, absolutely fantastic talent, really, really good. And as I said, we became over reliant on him because he was so good and tailed off a little bit before he got injured, but still, you're wanting that outlet there and not having him. It's just everything. In the last game, everything was coming in narrow, everything was coming in central. There was no outlet to hold, not to only hold the width, but maintain the width when they have the ball. Everyone's coming in field. And again, in terms of the general makeup of the team and the way that we play, kind of feels like we've gone back to the start of last season when Carrick was desperately scrambling around trying to rectify not having Giles, which is ironic because we have Giles now and we're not playing the same type of system in possession as we were in that season. So yeah, weird one with Boro, really weird.
Yeah, I mean Ben Doak gave I think it was Ross McCrory on that day who was a right back playing left back at that point.
Yeah.
Very torrid time. And should have
Mm.
scored twice at least. Um, well, Tommy Conway then, who is probably going to be one of the big talking points. His return to Ashton Gate. I know he kind of came on as a substitute up at the Riverside. Whilst you were 2-0 down. How's he done? Because there's I know I know he's had an injury. But his goals return has not been bad, and considering he's been competing with Emmanuel Latte-Lath kind of a lot of the season,
Mm.
it's not been a bad signing for you guys, is it?
No, he's been good. Tommy Conway, I think he's got like the third best goals per 90 record in the championship this season. I think I was looking at FBref the other day, might have updated, I don't know. But yeah, he's been good. He's a very busy striker, and I think that's like if I was to earmark like the type of striker that Michael Carrick wants, it's a busy striker. It's somebody that's going to press, that's going to run around, that's going to kind of yeah, not let anything up. And Tommy Conway is that. I know obviously he left you guys in a bit of a bad way, but he's been a good signing for us and putting a lot of stock in him, I think, post Latte Lath. I want to see him over Iheanacho, to be honest, because I just think he fits what I think Carrick wants a lot more than Iheanacho does. Played number 9, whilst Iheanacho played behind him in the 10 position in the last game against Watford. Didn't really work, but then again, there's connections that need to be birthed here because we had a lot of good connection between Finazaz in the 10 position and Latte as the number 9. That just needs to be connected again. But Conway's been good. I like him. I think he's a relentless worker and a good goal scorer as well. And yeah, it's unfortunate that he has been injured. He was injured on Boxing Day, I think, and was out for a month and a half or so. So I'm glad to see that he's back because yeah, investing a lot of stocks in him because I'm certainly not investing any stocks in Kelechi and Nacho. Let me tell you that for one.
Do you think he starts on Friday night then, Tommy Conway?
I do. Yeah, I think he
That'd
starts
be
up
good
front.
then.
Yeah, you know what? Our host on the pod, Johnny, said that he's gonna score. So let's hope so, because that is a narrative, isn't it? That Tommy Conway coming back to Ashton Gate and scoring. Is it written? Maybe
Hopefully
we'll
not.
see.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's a nice, comfortable, clean sheet win as well. Finn Azaz is someone I also want to talk about because when you signed him in that January window, Liam Manning actually came out and said that we had agreed a deal with Aston Villa, and I was like, what? And then he
Oh, I didn't know that.
decided to go to
Mm.
Middlesbrough. How's he done for you? Because I know he started slowly, but he's produced really good numbers this season. Is
Mm.
how much of it is he going to be available on Friday night?
Yeah, he will be. I think he's just out of form. Like he's
Okay.
very, very much out of form, which is a good thing for you guys and any championship opposition really, because when Finazaz is on form, he's such a key component to this Middlesbrough side. Just his vision, his quality on the ball is fantastic. He's such a fast thinker, and it's something that I've always wanted from a Middlesbrough midfielder because I feel like we're too slow in our decision making. Of previous seasons, we've had too many players that are too slow in their decision making, too slow to release the pass. To be fair, Finazar sometimes is too slow to release the pass. He does this chop inside and outside that seems to be a bit of a hallmark of his game, which can be a little bit irritating. Funnily enough, Delano Bergzorg does the exact same thing, so they must be mirroring each other in training and on the pitch. But when he just sees, I feel like he sees things before they actually play out in front of him on the pitch. That's a fantastic type of player to have. And I still think he'll get the double double again this season. I think he's on like eight. Oh, is he on like 8 goals, 9 assists, maybe something
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
that? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think he'll get the double double, but he's gone massively out of form, which has ultimately led to him being dropped or rotated. It'll probably be said against Watford. But when he's on form, he's definitely one to look out for because he's just such a creative player and really actually good to watch when he is on song.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was our first choice that window because we signed Scott Twine after that.
Mm.
So he must have been our first choice. So who in that Middlesbrough team should Bristol City fans be looking out for then as a threat and as someone who can harm what is a pretty fragile looking Bristol City backline at the moment, I have to say.
Oh, Boro much the same. You know what? Probably Bergzorg. I just mentioned him there. He's in good form. He was actually surprisingly dropped for the Watford game. I do not know what that was about. We played Hayden Hackney as the left winger instead, which Hackney's played there before, but just in a very, very good Middlesbrough team 2 seasons ago. So putting him in an out of form Middlesbrough team is just not really going to work. And anyway, Carrick undid that decision at half time. Yeah, Bergzorg has been the red beam of sunlight, should we say, through the dark clouds that have been Middlesbrough this season. So I would say him. He's just got this kind of swagger about him, and I think he's got 3 goals his last 4 games. So he's the one really. I feel like he's Christ the Redeemer at the moment. He's like the one that is going to save Borough's god awful form. So yeah, I would say him. He's direct, he's skillful, he's quick, he's physical and he's in form. So yeah, I'd say Delano Bergzal for sure.
And I don't know if you've watched a lot of Bristol City this season, but who are you looking at that Bristol City team and going, oh, that they could cause us some problems either, because of certain players in your team being a little bit of a weak link, or just us having good players.
Yeah, I'd say Mehmeti for sure. I remember him at Wickham getting a lot of good reviews. His style of plays. Um, usually the kind of cut inside wing is not for me, but when they work, very, very good. So I think I'm gauging he's in good form. And if Scott Twine gets a free kick, bloody hell. You might as well just Travers might as well just get ready to pick the ball out of the net, right? I mean,
It is a penalty at this point. The numbers are crazy. There's his like conversion record is like much better than anyone else has like
yeah.
ever seen. It's crazy. He got booed when he didn't score one the other day. I think it was in the FA
Did
Cup.
he?
He got yeah, it was in
That's amazing.
prime Scott to one position. He scored one early in that game and then hit the top of the wall. But yeah, if he gets
Yeah.
a, it's his number. It might as well be a penalty. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'd definitely say if he steps up I'd be worried. Um and yeah, just will it be Mehmeti up against Ayling? So left
Well,
wing, right
uh,
back.
we kind of play with two tens a little. It's a bit weird.
All right, okay.
And also who did we play last? We played Cardiff. And he
Mm,
kind of Manning kind of switched both of our flanks. So Ross
mm,
McCrory and Mark Sykes switched flanks, and so did Scott Twine and Alice Mehmeti. So if
mm.
they switch back over, it'll kind of be Mehmeti. It won't be directly up against Luke Ayling, but it'll be
Yeah.
in that channel. But he does
Yeah, in
like
that
to
channel,
him
yeah.
him more than Scott Twine for sure. He likes to get in behind, and like egg
Mm.
on his fullback. So yeah, it'd be
That
Ayling against Mehmeti.
Yeah, that worries me then because we have been targeted within that. It's basically either side of Ayling we've been targeted, and I think I'm glad actually that we've got Rav van den Berg on that side rather than Edmondson because Rav I think is a better defender than Edmondson, better recovery defending as well. So fingers crossed if we do get targeted there, Rav can help out Ayling big time because he's just I think you can
I
just see.
I wouldn't be overly surprised though if Ants was dropped for Yu Hirakawa, who has been getting better.
Oh right,
So because
yeah.
Ants he scored 2 goals midweek against Stoke, but he has been a little bit. It's not been his greatest run of form, so I wouldn't be overly
Oh right.
surprised. And we're trying to manage workload
Mm.
because we've got a quite thin on the ground squad. So if Yu Hirakawa comes in, I wouldn't be overly shocked. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Whoever plays there, whoever plays there, it's just whoever comes up against Luke Ayling, I'd say he's the notable weak point in this team. And any runners off Hayden Hackney, it's something that I think is a bit loose in his game. But to be fair, we've got Ian Morris there, who's a very, very good player, very good pickup from the MLS in the summer. Glad that he's back in the team after an injury. So yeah, I guess a long-winded answer, but whoever whoever has to whoever Luke Ayling has to deal with, unless Dijksteel's in the team, because Dijksteel did come back. He made his return from injury in the last game, and the substitution was Dijksteel on, Ayling off, and the reception was so uncomfortable because there was like cheers, like sarcastic cheers and stuff for Ayling coming off, and Dijksteel coming on. It was brutal, but it's underpinned by just a general lack of trust in Ayling, I think, because his performances are on the decline.
Finally, then, what are your score predictions ahead of this one?
Oh, I'm trying to see. I think I said 2-2 on our pod. Yeah, 2-2. That might have been, was that might have been the last result at Ashton. I can't remember actually. It was definitely the result in our I was going to say promotion season, I wish, in our playoff season
Yeah, I
because I
remember
remember
that. Yeah,
Aaron Ramsey scored. Yeah. Another game that we're probably looking at and thinking, damn,
should have won.
why? Yeah, why? But as I said, like when we need to get a result against Bristol City, you guys just have our number like 9 times out of 10. It's crazy. Even in the promotion season under Aitor Karanka, I think you came here and was it Joe Bryan scored like a fantastic goal or something like that? I'm like, oh my God,
I can't
Bristol City
remember, but
haunt my
probably did. Yeah.
yeah, the Bristol City haunt my dreams and my nightmares. Yeah, I'm gonna go 2-2. That won't be the result that lifts the pressure off Michael Carrick, I don't think. It'll probably still be simmering there, but 2-2 for me.
I feel like there have been a weird number of Desmonds or close to Desmonds in our games, Ashton Gate in particular. I think it was 3-2 to us last season, where it was. I remember where Matt Crooks scored to make it 2-2, and he scored a
Ah,
weird. He
Crooks
scored a.
loves. Yeah,
Yeah, he does.
Crooks
He did
loves a
love.
goal
Yeah, yeah,
against
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. Thank God he's playing for Hull now. I think we've covered
I
in other
know.
topics.
We should get
Um,
him back on loan just for this game.
uh, Dana, thank you very much for coming on. It's been a it's
Thank
been an
you.
absolute pleasure. Do you want to go ahead and plug the Borough Breakdown because it's a really enjoyable listen and a
Oh,
good kind of
yes, thank you.
insight into Middlesbrough's kind of troubles at the moment.
Yes, I'm not used to this. Yeah, we're available on pretty much all podcast providers, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, bloody everything, YouTube as well. We're on Twitter. Boro_breakdown. We're on Facebook, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok. We're pretty much everywhere, and we post an episode every Sunday.
catch them on the Borough Breakdown and catch Dana's excellent opinions, if I can speak, on there as well. Dana, thank you very
you.
much for coming on. Everyone, thank you very much for listening, watching, tuning in, subscribe, like all the good stuff. You know what to do. And yeah, keep safe, and we'll catch you later. Cheers.